Hello, friends of the Williams Integracare Clinic. I'm here with Eric Greene, a nurse practitioner at the clinic, and we're going to be talking about some different fasting options that you could have to set yourself up for a healthy year here in 2020 at the start of a decade. You want to introduce yourself, Eric?
Hi, everybody. Eric Greene. I know we've talked about this in the past, so it's good to chat about it again with Bailey.
And January is the season of diets and goal settings, with everyone wanting to make a big change for the new year. A study by the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin in 2016 reported that 55% of all attempted New Year's resolutions are health related. Unfortunately, as the cliche really is, many of these resolutions don't stick. In fact, a 2014 study from the University of Scranton reported that 77% of individuals maintain their resolutions for only the first week, and then by June, it's down to only about 46% of them maintaining their resolutions, which is actually a little bit higher than I would have anticipated, but still definitely a room for improvement if you want to find something that you can stick with. So I wanted to talk to Eric about different fasting options and see if there was different opportunities for patients to try some of these out in the new year. So can you give us an overview of the 3 different fasting methods that we defined before?
Yeah.
And then the benefits that you can receive from fasting?
For sure. Fasting option that a lot of people think or call intermittent fasting is what I call time-restricted eating. And so that's where you're eating all of your calories within a certain window. So I only eat within 8 hours. So I eat from noon to 8. But you can do that however whatever works best for your schedule. And some people will do a 10 hours, some people will do a 12 hour. We have about a 12-hour rhythm to our metabolism. So really, I always recommend people don't eat outside of a 12-hour window. So that's what I call time-restricted eating or time-restricted feeding. And then you have more of the intermittent fasting, which would be you do something like a 24-hour fast maybe once or twice a week. So that would look like you eat dinner Sunday night, but then you don't eat until Monday night. So you kind of get a 24-hour fast once or twice a week. So that can be really beneficial as well. And then there's the prolonged fasting. And so that's anything, most people will call that anything over 48 hours, a prolonged fast. From a benefit standpoint, your time-restricted eating is improving your metabolism. So you're going to optimize that circadian rhythm of your metabolism. So that can be beneficial. You're decreasing your glucose intake. So your liver is not having to store as much sugar, or you can actually utilize some of the storage. Same thing with the glucose in your muscle. So then when you do eat calories and especially sugars, your liver can then use that and your muscles can use that. Then your pancreas isn't having to use as much insulin. High levels of insulin can be detrimental in the long run for your health. The longer fasts, especially if you're getting to the 72 hours, those have a lot of added benefits from what we call autophagy, which can kind of get rid of some of those damaged and stressed cells in our body and really regenerate some organs. So the organs will shrink during the fast, but then when you start eating, they actually regenerate and you get a bunch of new stem cell production and you get rid of those damaged cells. So there's evidence that it's beneficial from autoimmune disease to decreasing risk of cancers to decreasing risk of Alzheimer's. So there's quite a few health benefits from it, actually.
And most people think about not eating for 3 or more days. It seems like a very overwhelming challenge. But in the fall, we talked about the Prolong Kit, which we have available here at the clinic, something that we're going to be giving away as part of this post, as you probably already saw. And can you explain how that kit kind of works?
Yep. So the nutrients in it, so from the macro standpoint, and they're designed in a very specific way to mimic fasting. So the day 1 is about 1,100 calories. And you eat specifically what's in the kit. And then day 2 through 5 are about 800 calories. And again, they're designed to, from a cellular level, mimic fasting in your body, but still allow you to eat some calories. So it does make the fast much easier. You still, don't get me wrong, you're still really hungry on day 2 of the fast. Day 2 is always the worst for most people. From a psychological standpoint and just that feeling of being really hungry. Once you get past that day 2, those hunger pains and that gets better, and people feel actually pretty good day 3, 4, and 5. And oftentimes it's interesting. People will go on these longer fasts as well as with the Prolon, and they feel better. They'll have like their normal aches and pains will get better. Some of those chronic aches will feel better because it does help get rid of some inflammation in the body as well. So the kit is very good at getting people jump started on some of these longer fasts because it works well and you still can eat some calories and not feel like you're completely wasting away.
Or do you think it's a realistic resolution for someone to make, to say, I want to do one of these a month or one of these a season? Is that something that, just an average person, maybe they don't feel like they're in very good physical shape, can just jump into doing?
So I think everybody should do time-restricted eating. And that could be a very, very realistic goal for everybody. So choosing a time frame of when you're going to eat, choose a time when you're going to be done eating at night. You should be done eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, and keeping that within a 10 to 12 hour window of eating, or 8. You can certainly go less. So I think that's very realistic. That is a good place to start. Starting with, I do have some people start with a prolonged fast as well, but it's a little harder to start with that. So that, if somebody's very motivated and wants to do it, I've had patients that have done great with that, and they just start and they just say, I'm going to do it and do it. But it's more difficult. So I like to have people get used to the time-restricted eating and then work their way into the longer fasts. So I do think it's realistic, but I would just, for the normal person, starting with the time-restricted eating is the easiest.
If you want to get started with any of these fasting methods, what is the first steps you should take? What's the first thing someone should do to kind of get the ball rolling?
Well, I do think it's good to get advice from whoever your provider is, because certain medical conditions could maybe make us change our mind if you want to do a fast or not. Especially the prolonged fast, and when we come to metabolic health, especially if you're on diabetes medications, that kind of stuff, that needs to be discussed if you're going to do a fast and you're diabetic, especially. Now, I think fasting can be really, really beneficial for diabetes. 1, at preventing, and 2, actually at curing diabetes. But if you're on medication that lowers your blood sugar, you have to be very careful with that, and you have to monitor it closely.
All right. Well, special thanks to Eric for providing this information, and best luck to him as he begins a prolonged fast at the beginning of the new year.
Yeah, thank you.